dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, several people, including children, are recovering after a house caught fire this morning in Corbin. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked to people who helped some of the kids while waiting for ambulances to arrive.
Corbin firefighters tell me this house behind me on Engineer Street caught fire between 8 and 8:30 this morning while several kids and adults were inside. Close to noon, we got an update from the Corbin Fire Department saying of the 5 injured, 4 in all were either airlifted or taken to UK Hospital in Lexington. All 5 were treated for smoke issues or burns. I talked to 2 people who saw how severe the injuries were firsthand.
There was one little girl, she was burned up. I mean, she had 3rd-degree burns on her face, and you could see her skin pulling off. It was just melting off the little girl's face. She wasn't probably 9 years old.
Now, firefighters are telling me the Red Cross has been called in to help the family. In Knox County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
One of the children injured in the fire was moved to a children's hospital. We just learned that moments ago. We do not know which hospital. Now, we will have much more on this coming up tonight at 6 and on WYMT.com.
Another absolutely beautiful day here in the mountains. Good news is we will see that continue into your Wednesday. Just a few clouds out there as well. You can see that here on our camera at the University of Virginia in Wise. You can see just a few clouds throughout the day, but it's been absolutely beautiful and a warm day as well. And as we look at our Whitesburg camera, we are noticing a few clouds there as well. Maybe just a little cloudy, but overall it's been a beautiful day in Whitesburg as well. Now, as we look at Pinpoint Doppler, we'll notice that it is a clean sweep. We'll also notice those flood warnings start to die down just a little bit. It's a little bit of good news, as hopefully we're seeing those rivers really recede quickly. Temperatures have been pretty warm throughout the day as well. We've seen those into the mid to upper 50s, some spots into the 60s as well. And the good news is we're going to warm up even more as we head into your Wednesday. We're going to see temperatures into the 60s. We're also going to see scattered rain chances start to make a comeback by the time we get to your Thursday in a wintry mix. Steve, can't believe we're talking about 60-degree temperatures and a wintry mix, but I have that all in the 7-day forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. The recent flooding hit one community in Johnson County pretty hard. The Oil Springs Cultural Arts and Recreation Center, also known as Oscar, received a lot of flooding damage. The bottom floor received nearly 1 foot of water late Saturday night and into early Sunday morning. The rooms in the building are used to teach crafts, host artist galleries, photography studios, and more. Rebecca Clay says it is heartbreaking to see the building this way.
Oh, I just cried. That was just heartbreaking. Everything that we worked with, all of our volunteers in the community has put so much work and effort into this building, and I just was like heartbroken because it's like, this doesn't happen here.
The Oscar building was built in 1950, and the church directly in front of it was built around 1893. Clay says thankfully the church did not receive any damage from the flood. Although there is a long road ahead of them, she hopes they can have the building open again in about a month. The cleanup also continues today in Wolfe County. Lee City along Kentucky 205 saw loads of water when the 2 rivers that converge on the edge of their town overflowed their banks, sending feet of water rushing into their yards and homes. As they clean up today, they say they are just thankful to be alive despite all the damage.
Our community is wonderful. Regardless of the situation, they're absolutely wonderful. There's love here.
At 6 o'clock, hear how they are handling the situation and what remained untouched during the flooding. President Donald Trump is now in Vietnam for a second round of talks with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The leaders will talk about North Korea ending its nuclear weapons program and relief from economic sanctions tied to that program. CBS's Nicole Killian is at the White House with the latest.
2 columns of soldiers and Vietnamese government officials greeted President Trump as he stepped off Air Force One in Hanoi. The president's motorcade headed straight to his hotel, passing thousands of onlookers who lined the route. Just arrived in Vietnam, he tweeted, "Thank you to all of the people for the great reception in Hanoi. Tremendous crowds and so much love." North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrived in Hanoi earlier in the day following a 60-hour train ride from Pyongyang. Security is tight at the hotel where the normally reclusive dictator is staying. Journalists who planned to work in the hotel were moved out, and a bellman tells CBS News the North Koreans brought all of Kim Jong-un's food, cooking supplies, and even the utensils he'll use to eat. The two leaders will have a one-on-one meeting and share dinner tomorrow, then hold formal talks on Thursday. Before leaving Washington, President Trump said sanctions on North Korea are still on, but he suggested he may be willing to ease them if North Korea takes meaningful steps.
We want denuclearization, and I think he'll have a country that will set a lot of records for speed in terms of an economy.
Lawmakers from the president's own party are skeptical.
Are you optimistic about the North Korea summit?
No, I'm not. I don't think Kim Jong-un is ever going to get rid of nuclear weapons.
Congressional approval will be needed to roll back some of the sanctions in place. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
North Korea is under economic sanctions from both the United States and the United Nations. Neither is likely to rescind those sanctions without verifiable proof that North Korea has followed through with denuclearization. President Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, begins 3 days of testimony on Capitol Hill with a closed Senate session today. The committee wants to give Cohen the chance to correct the record after lying to Congress in 2017 about President Trump's plans to build a Moscow tower in 2016. They want to know if someone told him to lie and how many other Russia deals did the president pursue and who were his key business partners.
I intend to keep focused on is untangling the very complicated financial arrangements between Donald Trump and Russia.
A source confirms to CBS News that Cohen plans to accuse the president of criminal conduct in connection with hush money paid to two women who claim they had affairs with the president tomorrow. Cohen reportedly will also reveal financial statements to show the president may have engaged in tax fraud. In a statement, the White House press secretary said, quote, "It's laughable that anyone would take a convicted liar like Cohen at his word and pathetic to see him given yet another opportunity to spread his lies," end quote. A mother and daughter in Morrisville, Pennsylvania are charged with the murder of 5 family members, including 3 children. Police say the killings were intended to be a mass murder-suicide, and the victims were found in the same bedroom. Officials say the mother, 45-year-old Shauna Decree, and daughter, 19-year-old Dominique Decree, are charged with 5 counts of homicide and 1 count each of conspiracy.
It really hurts, like 4 people, 2 people, 1 person, it don't even matter. We need to know what's going on in our community.
Police say Shanna Decree originally claimed 3 men were responsible for the murders, but then the mother and daughter confessed to the murders. A car crash in Texas claimed the life of a 1-year-old child yesterday afternoon. Police say a woman was near her vehicle with her baby in a shopping cart when 25-year-old David Fuentes made a wide turn into the parking lot at a high rate of speed. He hit the cart head-on, killing the baby. He then hit a parked vehicle, injuring another woman who was thrown several feet from where she was standing. That woman is in critical condition. The baby's mother was also taken to the hospital, but her condition is not known. Fuentes was arrested on drunk driving charges. The highest-ranking Catholic leader ever charged with child sex abuse was found guilty of molesting 2 boys in Australia. Cardinal George Pell was heckled as he left the Melbourne courthouse surrounded by police. The cardinal was convicted of sexually abusing 2 13-year-old boys in 1996 at a Melbourne cathedral. One of his victims wants him behind bars.
George Pell is a monster, a freak. He has to be jailed. No home detention, none of this pathetic, weak justice. We want to see him in jail. We want to see him fry in hell forever.
Pell was in charge of the local church's program to combat sex abuse at the time of the alleged crime. He has maintained his innocence. A Florida zookeeper was injured by a rhino at the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens this morning. The zoo says the keeper was struck by the rhino's horn during a routine training session. Zoo officials say the woman was hurt but able to speak when she was taken to the hospital. The rhino named Archie has been at the zoo for decades and is known for being easy to work with. Archie is 50 years old, the third oldest male southern white rhino in captivity. The zoo said it's investigating the incident and looking into any safety improvements that can be made. Head over to Wall Street now on this Tuesday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 33 points. Straight ahead on First at 4, hundreds of people were stuck on a train for more than a day in Oregon after the state received a record amount of snowfall.
And sunshine and scattered rain chances are in the forecast. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a few minutes.